got a bit of water. No sign of a dry summer after the dry spring just yet. And I'm trying to have a cast for sea trout with intermediate line, 9-foot 5-weight rod, and a couple of sunk flies of various types. I'll probably changing quite a lot. But yeah, we've got a good meaty flow in the river. Different river this time, a bit further north, and one that used to have a good reputation for sea trout. I don't know, everything seems to be declining these days, so I can't really say it's the same. I've just had a look at the weir and I've seen a couple of fish running up, so that's quite encouraging really. So off we go. Right, so we've got quite a longish leader, about, I don't know, 11-12 feet, and it starts off, we've got 12 pounds nylon down to about 2/3 of the way, then it goes to 8 pounds nylon, and we've got blue Zulu, about size 10 on the dropper, and I've got a little nice bright orange cascade with a jungle cockeye on the tail. That's a salmon fly really, but can be quite effective for sea trout in these conditions where we've got this heavy peat stain. And I'm just going to try this pool tail right on the bridge here. This is the boundary of our beat, so I can't go any higher up than this. It'd be good to dangle it from the other side of the bridge, but we're not allowed to do that. So there we go, it's cascade in the water. And I might put a sink tip on rather than this intermediate line. Push the rod under, get it to sink a bit there. There's a tiny little brownie or par or something went for the dropper then before it even sunk. And the wind's going to be quite a nuisance, I think. It is forecast to drop slightly into the evening, but we'll see, won't we? The pace just calms a bit down here. Casts here, and then we'll go down and look, see if anybody's on the main pool somewhere downstream. A little bit too torrential, I think, just here. Okay, I hope you're going to enjoy the video, and if that's the case, please subscribe. Totally free, and you'll get a notification when the next issue is out. So definitely worth doing that. My hunch is that any fish are going to be lying on the inside of this pool, the near side, because the current's just a little bit quieter. Sea trout in particular don't like to hang in a strong current if they can avoid it really. Couple of short casts still in the bob fly. And another little tiny trout having a go at it, or par. And another bump there. He's a small fish though. I'll know about it when I get a proper pull from a sea trout. Change of fly now. I've got that streamer pattern on For some reason I'm just, I don't know, just not confident with that cascade. I can't put my finger on why. Maybe I feel it's more of a sort of autumn pattern with the orange colour, but anyway. Not seen any sea trout showing, and I've not seen any brown trout rising. Well, I suppose sea trout can rise as well, but very little fishy activity. Just those couple of plucks at the top end of the pool, which I might revisit later. Anyway, I'm just try this tail section where the pool breaks up before it goes into the next one. And I'll let this these flies just swing quite close in below me. See a fish move down there. Could be a brown, could be a sea trout. But that's the first fish I've actually seen rising and towards this bottom end. Ah, that was a bit of a bump. A little bit of a bump. And something. I thought I'd better point out on this video there won't be any comments due to the club rules basically, but if anybody wants to discuss anything sea trout wise or whatever, by all means drop me a PM on Facebook, but I can't put any comments on a public forum, like I said, due to the club rules. Okay, look at that, beautiful, looking across to the Bowland Fells in the distance. Wow. A full moon next week, I think, judging by that guy coming up. Waxing moon. Now traditionally, sea trout fishing is thought of as a nighttime activity, sea trout fly fishing anyway. Certainly in low water. Now modern day developments in sort of long fine leaders and very delicate dry fly and nymph techniques have probably blurred that sort of idea a bit now, and there are some experts that can catch sea trout on fly in low water, even in bright sunshine, but I'm not one of them. Yeah, so basically I'm sticking with the traditional sort of view of sea trout, which is like low water, high summer, and clear water. You fish fly at night. Heavy water with a bit of colour during the daytime, spring, summer and autumn. You can fish either spinner, worm or a fly setup during the day. And it's basically the traditional approach to sea trout fly fishing is wet fly down and across, slightly bigger flies than you'd use for brown trout, but it's basically down and across fishing. The reasoning behind the night fishing sort of tradition, sea trout are much shyer than brown trout. If you think of it, they're coming into an alien environment. They've been used to a great big sort of wide ocean and lots of cover under that sort of kelp and bladderwrack, and they end up in very shallow sort of barren stretches of river, often with no cover, and it's not surprising they're shy. They will go for the sort of deepest spots in the pool, and they'll try and hide under sort of cliff edges and into sort of underwater caves. Failing that, they'll find the sort of densest pile of sort of in-river debris, fallen trees and stuff like that, and they will sort of hide in the tangle of branches. So yeah, very secretive, shy fish, and not easy to catch by any means. The other thing is sea trout don't really feed actively in the rivers. That perhaps varies from river to river, but generally you say that the sea trout's appetite is very low in terms of actual nutrition requirements while in the river. They do the feeding in the sea, pack on the weight, and the purpose of the return to the river is to condition ready for spawning. They take that time to ripen their eggs or molt in the case of the males, and they'll hang in the rivers through the summer, ready to spawn in the autumn. So they don't really need any food. The smaller fish, perhaps to an extent, will feed on insects and stuff like that, but you're relying on predatory instinct rather than hunger. So obviously with a brown trout you've got an actively feeding fish, and it's going to be easier to catch on through that reasoning. We're going to try now is a surface lure. It's not really dark enough, but I'm fishing this streamy water with it initially. And I'll just get the torch on. There you go, you can see him. That monstrosity, creation of deer hair and foam and a bit of marabou. We'll trail it round this rapid and see if anything comes up to snatch it. This time of year it'd be typical of a sort of young rodent, young vole or something trying to cross the river. A bit naive and quite vulnerable to the attentions of a large predatory trout. So little flock. There's a small fish though, I think. At least there's something interested. It's a good sign. Let's get the line through the top ring. Oh, something came up. Saw a big swirl behind it then. There we go. That's something decent. Not a huge fish, I don't think, but oh, I don't know. Strong fish. Not going to put the torch on yet until I get it to the net. We got the. I've no idea what it is. I can't see a thing. It's a trout or a chub. I'll just get it up this rapid a bit and into the net. Look, the lure works anyway. I think it's a huge one. The surface lure is eating our blank. Oh, it's a sea trout, it's somewhere around near that. You can see the red spots. It's hooked in the bottom jaw. Quite securely. Barbless hooks, no problem getting them out. Yeah, not bad, I'll take that. I don't think he's as big as the one I got in the dusk last time I was down here, but it's a blank breaker, a good fish. Another great point of debate on these angling forums, especially on Facebook, is the appearance of sea trout and brown trout. And somebody's called a fish, is it a sea trout, is it a brown trout? Now, when a sea trout's fresh run, it's pretty obvious by the bright silver coloration that although it's the same shape and overall appearance and profile as a brown trout, it doesn't look anything like it. Very silver coat and very bright white, stark white belly, everything like that. Now once that fish has been in fresh water for maybe 2 months, you're getting towards the back end of the summer or into September and you catch one, quite a different appearance. The silver sheen has gone and the coloration starts to resemble a brown trout, which it basically is. It's the same species. The differences I could point out if I'm asked. Sea trout tends to retain clear fins, you know, clear coloration to the fins, so they'll look a sort of translucent grey, even when it's very stale, but in the river month after month. Brown trout tends to have like that sort of yellow, olive, orange sort of cast to the fins. and the opaqueness. Spots on a brown trout, you'll often find ring spots, and you'll find a few flecks of red spots as well, which are usually absent from the sea trout. Well, certainly I've never seen a sea trout with ring spots, that's for certain. The spots on a sea trout are generally uniform black and can vary in density to just a few, like a salmon, to being very heavily spotted, but they are sort of a uniform black spot. So that's a bit of a guide if you want to know whether the fish you've caught is a brown trout or a sea trout, which is a moot point because basically they are the same species, so it's still a brown trout, whatever. No sign of sea trout. Just try and get rid of this glare. I'm just going to talk in silhouette instead. Yeah, so I'm going to work my way back towards the van and try the little pool where I had the very nice brownie last time, because I do fancy that for holding sea trout. There's a huge sort of system of snags and bushes and trees in the water there, a pool above and a pool below, so it's got to be a sort of holding area, I think. Also very well shaded, quite secretive, so a little river like this, the shy fish like a sea trout, they want somewhere to hide. That's absolute paramount importance. They're not interested in food, they're not in the river to feed, they're just in the river to spend a bit of time ripen up for breeding and then spawn in the autumn. So they'll sort of idle the summer away where they can find somewhere safe and comfortable. Quite strong peaty colour this time, but worth trying into the night a bit. I think the best chance is going to come in the next hour though, really. I'm going to try this little streamy run on the way down into the pool, quite shallow water. Just going to wet the flies here. We'll do a little sort of butcher type effort on the point, little sort of double butcher, and we've got a sort of mallard and claret variant on the drop, a nice bushy fly. So a little sort of slim fly and a big bushy fly. Two contrasting menu items. And this time of the evening I'd expect a sea trout or two to be sort of mooching up these shallow runs, ready to make the journey in the dark. Difficult call at the moment because the water's quite peaty. Usually the colour it is when it's quite a bit higher, but after such a long drought and a bit of a few rises this week but no proper spate, it's still sort of quite scummy and mucky on the bed. And the water is quite peaty. Let's let these flies search around here. Short line first. Search this near side. I'm caught in a weed then, or a rock. Seen any sea trout shore yet? Just one or two small trout rising in the margins. One more cast here and then we'll try little runs near the bridge just before the light goes. There we go. That's a fish. Heaven knows what, but it's a good fish. Oh, keep a tight line here. Torch on. No idea what this is, whether it's a brown net or a sea trout, but it's not a bad one. I think it's a brown trout. Quite welcome. Oh, come to the net. What have we got? It's a good fish. I think it's a sea trout. Oh, that's something. Oh, let's try and get this torch on. There we go. Well, I think it's a stale sea trout. Been in the river some time now. It's taking that dropper. Not quite fly, but the dropper. That's it, dropper's entangled in the net. Let's have a proper look at him. Yeah, I think that's I'm inclined to say that's a sea trout. Brown trout might tend to be more sort of golden and yellow. It's losing his silver sheen, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what that is. So I think we've actually broken our sea trout duck. Not a big fish, maybe a pound or slightly over, but very happy with that. Let's get him back, and away he goes. No bother at all. Great. Right, what I'm going to do is try the bridge run, and I'm going to come down here and try into the dark proper. So good luck with your sea trout fishing if you fancy having a go. Bear in mind they are wild fish, probably as wild as any fish gets in the UK. Very canny and not easy to catch. Well, certainly not for me anyway. And you will need a salmon license if you're fishing in England and Wales. Not so Scotland, but England and Wales, you will need a salmon license. They do come under the same law as salmon as far as the Environment Agency are concerned. Well, thanks very much for watching. I hope you found that educational and interesting and enjoyable. If that's the case, like I said earlier, please push that subscribe button and get on the team. So thanks very much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care. Bye bye.